Hello everybody, today I'm going to be taking a new look at an Ogre Warrior Horde from Mantic Games for Kings of War. Okay, so looking at the first sprue. A lot of Mantic plastics have been coming out recently where they describe two separate sprues as one sprue because they parts move back and forth across the sprues. You may find heads on one and arms on another, that sort of thing. But for the Ogres, there are actually two separate sprues in one box. Like Mark 1 British World War 1 tanks, they are male and female. So, sprue 1 is the female sprue. It contains 3 full bodies. It also contains 3 pairs of arms. So we have boomer, we have two-handed weapon, of which there's a couple of different types now. So we've got 2 swords and 1 sort of halberd or pike here. And then we have our hand weapon and shield. So you've got the 3 shields, 3 different hand weapons, axe, mace, sword. Another thing to notice is we have a variety of heads. So I think there's 7 on this. 2, 4, 5, 6. No, 6 on this. Okay. Although these can be sort of mixed and matched to a greater or lesser extent. Female bodies, a few of these have beards, so they can go onto the other sprue, but most of them are unadorned with hair. If I flip them over, you can see the heads have a, I suppose it's almost like a ball socket joint. These are to match the old heads. So when you bought the old Ogres, you got extra heads and you could mix and match, which means you should have a lot of variety if you're already an Ogre player. If you're not, you don't need to worry about that. Another interesting note, as I bring in the other sprue, is that this is, I believe, the first coming from Poland. A long criticism for a while now has been no build instructions. It's never bothered me because heads go on to necks, arms go on to shoulders. It's not a big deal. I can generally figure it out. However, for some people, they've always wanted more accurate labeling of the sprues. Let's put it like that. So now we have things like E4 is this boomer arm. And the way they seem to have labelled them is it's sequential numbers. So the bodies don't really matter, but they are numbered. So we have E1, D1, and F1. Then you have E4. E5 will be the paired arm for this, and so on and so forth. I believe you can still mix and match. So you could put the E-gun arms, as long as you use both parts, onto D or F. It shouldn't make a difference. But we can see again with the male sprue here, you get the 3 boomers, 3 two-handed weapons, so in this case a couple of axes and a sword, and then we again have single hand weapon and shield. Nice level of detail on them. Nice looking sprue design as well. Deals nicely with things like undercuts, which were a problem before, which meant you sort of lost a bit of detail on manufacture due to not softening, but stretching of the things like legs to avoid the undercuts. But these have got around that very neatly indeed. It's a very good quality sprue. Let's get them built, and then we can have a look and see exactly how they stack up. All right, I'm back and I've built everything up. But before I get into those, I ran obviously through the builds. It does go from highest to lowest number. So when you start building the body's A1, the first set of arms is A2, A3, A4, A5, and so on and so forth. So it's important because even though, if we look here, I have A4 and A2, so both have right hand on weapon and need a left hand. So A3 belongs to the sword, whereas a 5 belongs to the boomer. And sometimes you'll get a pair of arms that look like they're right, and you know they'll be the right number, the right letter, but the wrong number. They are very specifically keyed, so they won't go together in the wrong pairing. So if I took a 5 and a 2 here, which look to be close enough, you'll find that they're just slightly off. Another thing I noticed was, maybe we'll be able to see this, probably not, the armor on the shoulder. So this is the two-handed weapon hand. Then we have boomer, and over here is actually the shield. They all have the same type of armor, so it's all got this segmented, which is quite a nice touch I hadn't noticed beforehand. So the shoulder pads for all of them are the same, but in different pairings depending on the weapons. Other thing, I did experiment with putting different arms onto different bodies, and that's all fine. You may find that some fit a bit easier, some require a bit of moving around to do so. But here we have the 3 female bodies. So as you can see, nice chunky build. If I grab another, this one had, I want to say, arm C, arm B, body A, I think, something like that. So different sets of arms. But as you can see, they all go together very well, so it doesn't really matter how you mix and match them. For the likes of the shields, they have either a straight build, like this one, where you can see it's a flat edge, or you'll sometimes get sort of pins, like little mortise and tenon or that sort of thing. So you have a very solid fit, and they don't rotate beyond the position they're supposed to be in, so you don't end up with weird arms. The models themselves are all really well detailed, and the sculpts have minimal flashing and mold lines. You will see them running along the torso or running along the arm, so there is a bit of flash that will be required to clean up, but not so much that it's egregious or something beyond what you would expect. The third of the female bodies, put this together with that halberd or polearm look. So nice level of detail, good chunky armor on them, and a nice layer of texture on the armor as well. So you can see some of them here have like pitting or a hammered or brushed sort of metal feel. Other pieces, like this shoulder pad, have a flatter affair and then an under layer that's a bit more pitted. So not everything has the same texture, so there's a bit of variety there. Also a lot less straps, still straps, mind you. So anybody who knows the old ogres know that straps are key in life. But these only have like 2 on each boot or greave, which is, shame, but you can't have everything. Moving away from the female bodies and into the male. We have one of the boomers here. He actually comes with I would say it's a shot, but it's more like a cannonball that they're loading in. This is one I have a slight gripe with. If they'd had this arm positioned across the body as if he was about to pop that in there, I think it would give a much more natural fit. I suppose I could cut it at that joint and then rotate the arm, just so he looks like he's loading it rather than just screaming at somebody while he holds the gun steady. But it's a minor thing. And again, really nice hodgepodge of armor on them, good detail, and a nice look overall. It's especially prevalent on the shields, I think. They have that that feel to them. Here's another boomer wearing a excellent looking mask to protect his pretty features. Again, this is one of the 2 parts. And I want to say I don't believe this is the right arms for this torso, in that the arms are a pair but not for the same letter body. Just again to see whether or not it made a difference for the build, and it didn't really. And then I have one more, and this is another great weapon wielding. Again, beautiful design and really nice detail on them. Now, if I just bring in this, they are about 40mm to eye level, and about the same, just slightly higher, about 42 to the back of that sort of hunch, because their heads sit forward. That's important, because if you've already got a set of Mantic Ogres and you want to add these in, they're not wildly different in size. In fact, I dug out this one from my own, and as you can see, I had a little chuckle to myself when I seen that axe and hand motif. So this is our old ogre captain or warlord, and this is our new one, looking not dissimilar. And as you can see, size wise, they are identical, or as close as in height and stature. They do have slightly smaller hands, I've noticed, more in proportion, less of the giant ham fists, and obviously then shorter or thinner legs have gone away in favour of these more robust pairs. But if you're planning on supplementing an already existing ogre army, then you can do so without having a massive change in sort of volumes, which I'm all for. So there we go. Old and new. So there we have it. Lovely hard plastic ogres who haven't skipped leg day, which is always nice, I suppose. I did like the guerrilla-y look of the originals, and I've got a massive army of them, which I'll be keeping. I'll just supplement the new plastics into that. Interesting kit. The way Mantic have got it set up is that will be used for both the core units. So 4 of the core unit types use it exclusively. Then the chariots also get 1 sprue. I don't know whether it's always going to be the same, whether it's always going to be male or always going to be female, or whether they'll be randomized. Not sure. But it will also go into that plastic. So that's a whole plastic chariot kit using them. And then the other units that are less frequently seen, shall we say, so the shooters, the siege breakers, which aren't less seen, they're always seen. But things like that will have resin components as an add-on, so you'll be able to use those and have a coherent look across the army. And like I said, there's already the Vanguard line of heroes which match in with these as well. So interesting. I like what Mantic's doing, going back and revisiting earlier stuff and trying to get at least the core units out in hard plastic. It makes it easier for people to join in, I suppose, and that's always a good thing. Helps grow the hobby, especially Kings of War, because it's great. But let me know what you think below, folks. I'm going to get back to building ogres, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.